please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
The government relaxed FDI foreign direct investment rules for Air India in its bid to find a buyer for the debt-ridden national carrier. The government opened the doors to foreign carriers to buy a piece of Air India. Earlier, foreign carriers were not allowed to own any shares of Air India. Now they can own up to 49%, provided they obtain the government's approval. Shireen Bhan spoke to the Minister of State for Civil Aviation, Jayant Sinha, on a host of issues concerning the national carriers divestment process. Let's listen into that exclusive chat.
You have now, by way of that cabinet approval, allowed foreign direct investment up to 49%, but ownership and control 51% with an Indian entity. Is the government going to divest 100% stake? Will it be full privatization or not?
It will definitely be a strategic disinvestment, Shireen. The exact sale in terms of the share that will be offered as part of the disinvestment process and the stake that will be held by the government will be decided by the alternative mechanism that's headed up by the Honorable Finance Minister. But it is a strategic disinvestment, which means more than 51% will certainly be offered.
Okay, more than 51% will certainly be offered, but I would imagine that a final call, while it will be taken by the group of ministers on Air India headed by the Finance Minister, the thinking at this point, sir, you've had several meetings already. I'm not asking you to give us a sense of what the decision will finally be, but what is the thinking in terms of the government holding on to some residual stake?
I mean, there are various considerations that obviously come into play, Shireen, and you've seen that in the FDI decision as well, which is that we want this decision to continue to ensure that Air India remains an Indian carrier, that it remains a domestic carrier. It is controlled by Indian nationals and it retains its Indian ethos and character. And so all of that will be taken into account when the decision is made, first with respect to how much will be disinvested during the sale process, and secondly, how much of it will be offered for FDI. It can be up to 49%, but those are the decisions that the alternative mechanism will be making with respect to what we will be offering up to bidders as part of the disinvestment process.
Let me also ask you about one of the other considerations. You've got one unsolicited offer, and that's coming from India's Indigo Airlines. And there, very clearly, Indigo had stated that they would be up for the international operations as well as Air India Express. What is the thinking at this point in time in terms of either offering a single integrated network or, in fact, splitting up domestic operations and international operations?
There, I think we are quite clear, which is that we want to offer a single integrated network that includes both the international operations as well as the domestic operations. That is what will maximize the competitive position of Air India going forward, and that's really what I think we will offer as part of the sale process.
So you're very categorically stating that there will be no piecemeal sale of Air India. The domestic and the international operations will be on offer for sale together.
That is correct, Shireen. Of course, as far as the subsidiaries are concerned, we are going to be unbundling the subsidiaries, whether it's ground handling, whether it's the engineering business, the MRO business, Alliance Air. Those subsidiaries will be unbundled. You can bid for them separately, or you can bid for them in conjunction with your bid for the airline. So we will be offering quite a bit of flexibility as part of the bidding process when it comes to the subsidiaries. But when it comes to the network between the international and the domestic, as I said earlier, we want to put it out for bid as an integrated network.
So where would that leave then the unsolicited offer that Indigo has made, sir? And has there been any further communication with Indigo Airline, because that was their stated interest? And also I would imagine that they would run into a competition commission hurdle if Air India were not to be sold piecemeal, because on the domestic side then Indigo's market share would go beyond the competition threshold, sir. So where does this then leave Indigo's interest in Air India?
Shireen, I really cannot comment on any of that kind of speculation. We have a very fair, transparent process, and we will have to see how the process unfolds and who places in what bids. But our process is set up in a very rigorous way in which the transaction advisor runs and operates the entire process, and we will just have to see how that unfolds. We really cannot speculate as to who's going to do what at this stage.
Okay, so that's Mr. Jayant Sinha categorically saying that they are not going to sell Air India on a piecemeal basis.